Yeah, first panel about S.A.S today. Please welcome with me our guests. We have Maciek Szczesniak, Vice President and General Manager SMB and Mid-Market HPE. Artur Siganek, Regional Manager for Eastern Europe Acronis. Olaf Lesniak, Managing Partner Alterity. Jan Bogdanovic, Senior Vice President Consumptional Business at Also. And your host, my colleague Harm Hellinga. Over to you, Harm.
So, hello everybody. Cześć, Poland. Hello to everybody who is watching the stream today. And of course, welcome to our panelists. Everybody, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate you taking this journey with us. Today we will be speaking about X as a service and the future of IT. Topics like X as a service, is it here to stay? Is it just another trend, or will it also be influencing trends in the future? We're hoping to bring you inspiration and motivation on your journey towards new business today. In the panel, we have represented the vendor side by HPE and Acronis. We have represented the reseller side by Alternity, and we have represented Also as being the technology provider. Rules of the game are really simple. I ask a question to the four panelists who are the specialists, and they take it from there and kickfire the discussion. So let's not waste any time anymore by myself talking and go to the interesting part. Okay, Olaf, if it's okay with you, I will start with you. So Olaf, cloud is responsible for nearly all of the 11% spending growth within enterprise software in 2022 as organizations focus on upgrading their software stack to software as a service. Can you, as a reseller, confirm this trend?
Well, definitely I can confirm the trend because a lot of things that are happening in my sector, which is SMB, they are coming from enterprise, right? But when it comes to enterprise, what we've been noticing for quite some time right now is that they are for sure adopting cloud more openly within the verticals, within the industries that were not so eager to do so in the past. I think fintech is a perfect example, which for quite some time was very conservative about cloud in general, and is now, I would say, maybe not shifting, but at least getting more and more interested in that. So definitely this is a trend, and we can see that it's becoming bigger.
Yeah, interesting. And how is that, for example, for you, Artur? You have your customers divided as well in enterprise and SMB software. Do you see major differences in the growth or so?
Yes, we see the big, let's say, trend, and especially over last, let's say, 2.5 years, the pandemic time frame. The trend and let's say the speed of growth of this, let's say, cloud services and the interest of the cloud services is much higher comparing the traditional business, and from the, let's say, end customer perspective, and from the, for sure, from the partners perspective too.
Thank you. All right, you guys are, by the way, already winning because you can sit in the chairs. And the other guys had to stand, so you're already in the good session. Maciek, one for you. Gartner's analyst Lovelock said the future returns for the CIO. CIOs are now in a position to move beyond the critical short-term projects. You mean the fire extinguishing of the past years, and now focus on the long term again. A key topic in this context will be the public versus the private cloud setup. Can you share some insights on this?
So first of all, thank you so much for the invitation, and I'm thrilled to be back in Warsaw. Fantastic venue, by the way, and I'm so thankful to also for hosting this event here in Warsaw. The future returns to the CIO. I think we went through a very interesting period, didn't we? And the period was of a knee-jerk reactions. I'm responsible for the SMB and mid-market business for Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, and at the very beginning of the pandemic, we've seen a lot of knee-jerk reactions. A knee-jerk reaction is when you have a strategy, you have an idea, you want to do something, you have a plan, and then some unexpected event happens, and you had an idea how you're going to develop your IT infrastructure, your plan, your digitalization agenda. Suddenly you need to buy laptops, webcams, headsets, chairs, monitors for home for the employees. So a lot of the CIOs, and I had a number of conversations with both partners and the customers, were saying, look, hey, I needed to transform and I needed to move 3,000 of my employees over to work from home. That is something that consumed a lot of the time and effort. And right now, when the pandemic is happily receding, but also the technology is way more familiar than it used to be for many, many of the customers, especially small and medium business customers. This is when they are getting the second breath. And they really can start thinking about how do I reconcile my strategy with some of the purchases that I've made over the last 2 years. And they can have time now to think what to do next and where to invest next. Correct, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, what I think is also super important is that the role is growing because the hybrid is here to stay. So it will not, of course, they now can, like you said, reassess, think about, okay, what to do next. Now it's, let's say, it's calm after the storm. But in general, I think that the role of CIO with this marriage between working from home, working from office, is more important than ever now.
And by the way, guys, because I'm responsible for the small and medium business, for me, the CIO crowd is sitting here. You are the CIOs of your customers, of the small and medium businesses. How many people in the room support the small and medium business? I cannot see too many hands, but maybe because I'm blind of the lights. Can you just wave them a little bit higher? Okay. So for the small and medium business, I had a chat before the stage here with Olaf. He's the CIO of all his small and medium businesses. Correct?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So like a lot of small and medium enterprises just do not have their own departments, and we are taking the responsibility to handle the cybersecurity stuff for them and be responsible for cybersec strategy within those companies. Because, you know, to be very frank, like most of entrepreneurs, they do not have their own capabilities. Sometimes they do not have knowledge, but they do trust us to become the partner within that department of their company.
If you are talking about the strategy, long-term and short-term, let me add, let's say, one more topic from the security perspective, because it's completely, let's say, new situation. Just now, I think that all of us will agree that the hybrid approach doesn't matter if you are talking about the cloud or if you are talking about, let's say, the way how the, let's say, employee will work. Means that just now we had the discussion even yesterday evening. Okay, if you are back to office or not, how many of your, let's say, colleagues, employees are working still from the home office, how many of them are back to the office, and we agree the hybrid approach will be on the different level, and that will be, let's say, necessary to set up the strategy with the protection, data protection, cybersecurity in this new hybrid world, because it will be not only the IT infrastructure, but it will be the human approach too.
Yeah, maybe I can add also about the CIO another perspective. So we can also use letter I for innovation. And then what we have seen is that a lot of stuff has been done and made possible last 2 years, which somebody didn't believe before. You know, there was definitely a set of conservative customers that, you know, were working in certain way in IT landscape and they didn't want to change it. And then the IT leaders made it possible. And then I think we don't need to stop here. And, you know, with the new technologies appearing, which are allowing to diminish some of the limitations that we had even more, these guys need to keep innovating, applying it, and helping customers to, you know, scale and transform their businesses even more.
So answer was a little bit long, but yes, CIOs have now more time to think. They have more capabilities to consider. In the past, you know, many of the customers wouldn't even consider a hybrid world. They were very, very conservative, as my predecessor said. And right now, there are more opportunities, more capabilities, are way more flexible. The infrastructure, the on-premise infrastructure became way more flexible as well. I'm just going to advertise the HP GreenLake, if you have heard about this fantastic innovation on the market. So they will have more time and they will be driving the future of the companies more and more as CIOs, Chief Innovation Officers. It's a good one, yeah.
Definitely, great answer. So we see already the light of this new period, right? So we went from short-term and we're going again to long-term views. When do we think that these projects will actually happen? Do we already see it? Is this future music?
The demand is awesome, and let me tell you, you know, you can see the backlog that we have, the results that we have, the orders that we are getting, the situation is absolutely fantastic for us, but has been for the last 2 years, frankly saying, at the very beginning of the lockdown, I couldn't visit anybody. I couldn't have meetings, so I started to call people, I started to run Zoom conversations. Everybody was super busy over the last 2 years, so I don't think that the IT industry was really receding significantly, but what's going on right now, it's just beyond any doubt a fantastic opportunity for us to grow the business. Is everybody feeling the same?
I think it's best time ever, seriously, and I'm in industry for 8 years, and this has to do with, I think, a lot of different aspects. The market has grown, and I think that pandemic with, of course, all of the bad things that it brought, we all know that we've had those discussions before the panel, but what it brought, I think, mostly to SME market, it brought the speed up in a consciousness, in awareness about what is going to be the future of work. And I think that this have, you know, spanned the demand to the moon.
Yeah, exciting times to be in IT, I think, right? So, Arthur, you already started talking about cybersecurity and the role of cybersecurity in the current landscape. Of course, cybersecurity and data protection are essential if we want to make cloud-based business a success. That makes sense. We all know the alarming figures today of cybersecurity attacks and ransomware demands. What is Acronis' approach to tackling these challenges?
That's the good question. Yeah, thank you very much for that. I think that I can use the few examples what Acronis did and what Acronis is, let's say, offering to our business partner, to our cloud partner. First of all, Acronis decided to step in this, let's say, two areas. You mentioned about the data protection and cybersecurity, and we did the integration, and we are calling that cyber protection. What does it mean? There is For sure, data protection, this, let's say, classic traditional approach means that to make the backup or even to have the possibility to make the disaster recovery. But all of us know that it's not enough. And the example from the, let's say, few years in the past, okay, to have the backup, to have the copy of the data, but if that data will be encrypted by ransomware, that will be useless. Yeah, means that that's the reason why Acronis 5 years ago started to, let's say, offering protection of the data protection. Means that was, let's say, the protection against the ransomware attacks. Just now we are talking not only about the protection against the ransomware, but the total, let's say, spectrum of the malwares, antiviruses, and so on. Today it's necessary to protect the M365 seats. Means that it's not only, let's say, it's not enough to have that in the cloud, but the customers asking us, asking our partners how to protect, how to be sure that the data will be available and the information will be available after different scenario. Yeah? We are talking about the management, and there is a very important the proactive protection and the proactive approach means to detect the potential, let's say, risk, to detect the vulnerabilities, and then to have the tool to execute, and then to, let's say, have much safer infrastructure and environment to be able, let's say, sleep well. Means that the integration of these two areas, data protection and cybersecurity, that's the Acronis proposal to the market, that's our proposal to the partners, and you can use such approach to protect your customers.
Yeah, I think that this is super important because how a pandemic have democratized, quote unquote, the cyber threats. Because I don't know if all of you guys are aware of that, but we have now 1 in 4 SME companies being victims of an attack, of a form of attack in the last year. So the pandemic have democratized the threats. But what Acronis is doing and similar companies, what are doing is that they are democratizing the protection. So you do not need to have your own CIO because you can have a piece of software that can maybe not protect you throughout the whole spectrum, but can definitely offer some layer of protection that not long ago was just not available unless you've had your own department that will handle that.
But cybersecurity is a pretty broad topic, and I'm pretty sure everybody in the room and streaming recognizes that. So again, let me go back into the what happened over the last 2 years. Tons of employees suddenly started to use private laptops to access company data because there were just not enough laptops on the market to buy. And suddenly, tons of employees moved to home outside of the protection of the firewall. Tons of employees started to work with kids sitting in the back, and whenever they went for a little break, they would try to access the computer and do some stuff on it. So the protection now extends. There's a data protection, but there is a huge opportunity for all of us to provide the training to our customers. I don't know how much you are being trained on the cybersecurity, but at HPE I just finished the Cybersecurity Awareness Week, and I had to go through a pretty interesting training on how to detect phishing, how to understand what not to click on, okay? And we are getting this kind of a training on a regular basis as employees, and I started to train my family as well on that. Huge opportunity because many people don't know about those threats and those problems because they've been protected by the walls and the firewalls of the office. And right now it's a new word, new access, new opportunities that are coming. They are coming also with the new challenges. So huge opportunity for us as the channel to train the customers on how to protect themselves.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, there is a big opportunity for the channel partners because there is a new era, means that how to protect the edge, yes, means how to protect that, let's say, workspace and that devices and that applications which are outside of the protected company environment. There is a huge opportunity.
Yeah, maybe I can add also to cybersecurity topic. So we are in the technology area, of course, but the human being is also a part of a chain that we have, and that is a little bit harder to change than the technology. So what we have seen, some partners are successfully applying is a bit more kind of offensive approach of education towards their, let's say, employees and their customers, and helping actually to establish programs to attack employees with phishing mails, which at the end are the trainings. And through that approach, you know, actual people can start to change the behavior, because when they got in trap, they end up in immediate training, and then they already start changing their behavior. So this human part, I think, is also quite, you know, core and critical to keep, you know, in mind when approaching cybersecurity. And that is just one example, but there is other examples in, you know, identity protection, in network security, in data security, what you know, vendors that also is bringing to the market are helping with, and definitely huge opportunity for all the, you know, channel partners to help customers to tackle.
Yeah, and I know also follows a practice what you preach methodology, in the sense that we are being tested ourselves by these attacks, but we also sell the products. Did you click on it once, Jan, already, or?
Yeah, I did miss 2 in my life, so, but you know, happens even with the smartest techies.
Yes, we are all humans. Okay, now let's stay with you for a while, Jan. So, Gartner's David Tepper, Vice President Outsourcing and Managed Cloud Services, states that to ensure success, managed service providers need to work with a strong platform partner to make the most of the opportunities they have. What is ALSO's role and understanding towards the resellers?
Yeah, thank you for a question. So, first, kind of the context is that, you know, we have seen all together that during the pandemic, you know, the adoption of cloud services has, you know, tremendously increased in all the countries, and that also gives, you know, additional challenge for managed service providers who are always asked by customers to take care about all the aspects of IT, from operations support to cybersecurity to, you know, strategy, even consulting sometimes. And with adoption of cloud services, you know, MSPs need to take care of that as well, to be able to manage SaaS, to manage, you know, infrastructure as a service for customer. Some customers start to use already platform services, microservices, like DevOps practices, which, you know, more and more increases the pressure on the MSPs to be able to help customers with these new technologies. And then from also perspective, what we offer is starting with a training to basically help to skill you up on these cloud aspects, which you can start managing for your customers. Very important area is cybersecurity, because in cybersecurity, managed service providers are handling, let's say, delegated administration privileges across their customer environments, and there is, you know, additional maturity level which needs to be increased for MSPs to, you know, do it properly. Then, in terms of, you know, skilled personnel, we also have white label services which were able to support you in the back when it comes to deployment automation or when it comes to operations, which you can use while you are skilling up your, let's say, experts, or while you are, prioritizing them for deployment projects, and then on operation side, getting help. And then, lastly, of course, is the opportunity that we have with, all the innovation and all the stuff which is bringing or is coming to IT environment, to IT industry, to be always on top of all the latest technologies and go and implement them to customer. So we also see that some partners are, having new approaches of transforming some of the, professional service and bundling it with the managed service, and then selling kind of new type of subscriptions, which are also covering some consultancy in it.
If I can add one comment, the question about the platform and if it's needed and how professional platform is, let's say, important. I will say in that way that at this moment it's must to have. If you are talking about the, let's say, level of the tier on the, as a distributor, means to be able to support and deliver the service and the value to the partners on the right level, then without professional platform, it's, in my opinion, just now impossible. I see the, let's say, the difference. I have the opportunity to work with the different distributors, and say I see how the distributor without platform, without marketplace, are able to support their partners, and how it looks with, for example, also with the professional platform, with the automation and with the billings and so on. This that's needed. Yeah, means that it's must to have. As I said, without that, it's no option to grow. There is no option for the, let's say, fast development.
From the other perspective, I confirm.
Thank you for your contribution, Olaf. So MSPs, managed service providers, in any form of development work very closely throughout Europe with also, right? So what are the trends we are seeing in the development of the managed service provider? What is new? What will be there in the future? Maybe you, Olaf, because I think, I don't know your business that well, but I think you have an MSP as well, right?
Yeah, so sorry. I do think that the advisory role, the knowledge, I would say that our business is becoming more and more consulting job. This is my impression, and I think that customers are now expecting from us to be strategic advisors within a broad spectrum of IT. And I think that for some of you, probably it happened in the past. So you get a call from an uncle saying that, my printer is not working. Can you please help me? Right? So from the customer perspective, it's happening in a similar way. So I'm being asked a whole bunch of questions that are not really within our spectrum of cloud. But is it possible to automate this? Because we were considering automation of a certain process, or do you think that we can maybe build a custom solution to do something? So like we are becoming more and more, I would say, consultants and advisors.
I really like when you say, Olaf, you need to be proactive on that. I think one of the roles, and this is where I see some kind of a change happening on the market, is because there are so many new technologies and there are so many new opportunities to digitalize, and at least the small and medium businesses around the world look for opportunities to grow the business again. Some of them were hit pretty badly. I mean, at the same time, I think the SMBs are the most adaptable, and they're adapting the fastest to the changing situation. But you need to be out there with them and think about those new technologies, those new threats and opportunities for them, and be the consultant, but not like only responding to the requests, but but proactively go there and talk about options that are available for them. We spoke a little bit about the data. A couple of weeks ago, I happened to be a big fan of bouldering, if anybody knows what it is, rock climbing, and a friend of mine is running a gym in Warsaw, and just recently opened another one in Łódź, very difficult word to pronounce. And I've asked him, how is it after the pandemic? Are the gyms reopened again? Are you seeing the business growth? And he says, yes, people are coming. And now I have this super system that allows me to track how many people come here and how many people come to Łódź. And I can see, whether the business is growing, how my cash flow is going to shape. And I was like, hey, that's really interesting. So how do you track it? Oh, I have two different systems. And one is for the kind of a monthly payments, and the other one is for the daily credit card payments. So how can you track the attendance? Well, it's very difficult. I would expect that the channel partner that has implemented this solution for him is going to come to him and say, look, the data is new currency for you. If you know how many how many customers are coming to your gyms every day, every week, you can start structuring promotions. You can start allowing different changes where your gym is overloaded or underutilized. So this is where I think the channel partner, I need to go and talk to this channel partner in the future. He needs to proactively come and say, hey, here are the opportunities. And believe me, data will be the new currency. Opportunities that are in the data will provide the insights to the businesses about what is possible and what are the growth opportunities or efficiency opportunities within your customers' operations. And I think this is a big role for the MSP consulting, but the proactive one.
Definitely, I agree.
Yeah, and I think that the new opportunity and the big opportunity for the partners is to, that was mentioned, the white labeling. Yeah, we are talking about the different type of the services. Means that almost each vendor is offering the different services, and the opportunity for the partners is to, let's say, collect and select different services, build the offering, and that can be, let's say, very, innovative approach, because based on the as a service, different, options, different proposals, then on the partner level, it can be integrated and then can be offered to the end customer. And that's the new proposal and the new value which we as a vendors can offer to the partners, and then partner will choose individual services and then create the proposal to the customer.
Yeah, and we will just say we'll add it to your invoice. Simple as that.
And in that sense, Artur, what do you think? X as a service, is it a trend? Is it here to stay? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, for sure will stay. Okay, the question is how long, and from the one hand, we see that the some, trends are changing with the names, but in general the approach is similar. Yeah. Then from the other hand, we see the big changes, and that was, discussion about the centralization just now. That was the next wave. If you are talking about the cloud, in my opinion, hybrid approach will stay and depends of the customer need. That's the question: which percentage of the, infrastructure applications in the individual approach will be on-prem and in the cloud, and we can't generalize, but that will be, hybrid approach.
As a service experience is what everybody wants. I mean, we all want to pay for what we use. That's why the car sharing is growing. More and more people want to just go and use Panic or Traffic Car in Warsaw, Share Now in Germany, Ubigo in Spain, to just pick the car from the street and just drive around and just drop the car when they are not using it. But it's also nice to have your own car, because not everything that you get delivered as a service is going to be suiting 100% of your needs. So I totally agree that that the kind of a mixed approach will be there. But HPE has a position that even the stuff on premise can deliver as a service experience. So with the GreenLake concept that we have put in place, you can have on-premise infrastructure as a service. So as a service is a trend. Nothing will stop that because that's just beyond the IT industry. That's something that is much bigger than us, frankly saying. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that the as a service is a multi-tenant hyperscaler cloud. As a service can be delivered when you are charging on a monthly basis your customers for your services. That's as a service. When you charge your customers for the number of seats that you are maintaining for them, number of computers that you support, that is as a service on a monthly basis. I don't think it's a new trend, but I think the direction is certainly there to deliver as a service experience on premise or in the multi-tenant cloud, wherever the customer wants, or whenever you as the channel partners, because I still, as you know, HP is 100% channel, we are channel focused. I still believe that you will define whether the as a service means here or there or anywhere else. You will bring this to your customers and you will tell them and advise them what is the best solution for them.
On top of this add the service, let me add the one more, let's say, name, pay as you go. And I believe this as a service plus pay as you go, that will be, let's say, the future and that will be the trend.
Since we're now in the hybrid corner, I've read a super interesting article recently in which it stated that it goes with the on-prem versus cloud discussion. But the customers, they started moving a lot of workloads to the cloud and to infrastructure as a service. But in this point, they become aware that certain data should not be moved to the cloud actually. And we even see some migrations backwards. So from cloud to on-prem.
The boomerang effect. It's called the boomerang effect. It has a name now.
Really?
Yes.
Thank you for learning. But how do you think that that will evolve?
I think we have an explosion of data, what they call at the edge. So I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I'm being tracked everywhere. And there's tons of data that is collected about me everywhere. I just mentioned the car sharing experience, fantastic as a service experience. Just the other day, I don't know if you know, but Panic allows you to rent Tesla now in Warsaw. So you can go and take a Tesla by the minute and just drive it around Warsaw and test it out. And what is the cool thing about Tesla? Anybody? What's cool about Tesla?
Speed.
Acceleration.
Sorry,
Acceleration?
Yeah, correct.
So I took a Tesla, I went on the highway, I pressed the accelerator, boom! 5 seconds later, I got an SMS from Panic. Maciek, we are very concerned about your driving style. So the amount of data that is being collected about us and the amount of decisions that will be made while the data is being collected is growing super fast. And that will require certain workloads to stay very close to where the data is collected. You can call it on premise, you can call it at the edge, whatever probably when we translate it to Polish, it's gonna sound somehow different, but that is what's happening. So more and more data is collected on the edge, and more workloads will be positioned at the edge. There are some workloads, however, and Olaf and I, we spoke about it just before this panel. Email probably will never go back on premise. Olaf?
In my opinion, not a chance.
Not a chance.
It doesn't make sense anymore.
But there are data, there are workloads that will be very, very difficult, and applications that will be very difficult to be rewritten for the native cloud experience, or the data gravity will force it. data gravity, availability, access, and cost many times will force some of the workloads to go back to on-premise. That's why delivering on-premise experience as a service is going to be the future, and migration between the workloads, but between the on-premise and multi-tenant cloud is going to be super, super important for you guys in the future.
Yeah, that for partner, it's very important to choose such, let's say, service which give you the flexibility, because there is many, let's say, offerings on the market. And if you will choose the service only on-prem or only in cloud, that there is a limitation. But if you will choose the service with the flexibility and then depend of your customer needs, you will be able, in the easy way, let's say, protect part data on-prem, the second part of the data in the cloud, and then you will have the possibility to make the change if needed. That's the important for you, partners, and that's your benefit.
I definitely agree with you, Artur. I think that if you are not flexible and you are not at least looking in both directions, you're losing money.
And I would like to add on X as a service. Important about the X is that it also shows the potential for more stuff becoming available as a service. Like already today, we have workplace as a service, so we can on-premise have working places. People love to use laptops. Then these laptops can be as a service. Then on-premise infrastructures with great partnership with HP. Becoming as a service available, printing as a service is another one. Then Gustavo mentioned on the keynote networking as a service that is also becoming available, and then kind of also cloud marketplace as a platform, allowing you partners to manage across on-premise cloud environments, your own data centers and services, and then orchestrate everything in one platform. So that, I think is one touch I would like to add this topic.
Great stuff. So, Artur, Acronis is supporting partners on their cloud transformation journey. You come from a mainly on-prem business, right? What are the hurdles that your partner base are dealing with?
Yeah, that's true that we have the many partners who are, let's say, during the transformation process from this, let's say, classic business, from the traditional licensing to the cloud, and we prepare at least a few programs. Yeah, that's on the different level. Means that we have the special program and special support based on our, let's say, employees. We have the special dedicated teams who are supporting partners on the, let's say, two stage. I will mention this two important one. First, this, let's say, initial we are calling recruitment to the cloud, but it's our opinion, it's not enough to recruit, to convince the partner to start the cloud business. But very important is to support that partner during this early development stage, that to support and help partners to avoid the mistakes. Then the partner will be able to, let's say, survive over this, let's say, early period, and then when he is, let's say, feeling comfortable, he is able independently, let's say, grow. That's from that perspective. We are supporting partners with the, let's say, dedicated trainings and the programs. We have the special marketing, let's say, programs too. And what is important from my perspective, that we have some local initiatives, means that depend of the cloud adoption in the different countries. Yeah, let's use only the Europe as an example. We can't use the same tools in UK and, for example, in Hungary. And that's the reason why we are flexible and we have the dedicated, let's say, programs.
HP strategy is it's very, very clear. We say that every time we meet with the partners on a big stage. So I'm going to repeat that: transform at your own pace. There are new opportunities coming with the other service. So, and we said that all of us agree on that. That's the future experience, and we all need to make the transition to this new as a service model. You need help to do that. We have fantastic partners, distributors. Also, it's a great partner because they are adopting two parts of our SMB mid-market strategy. They're helping us to make your traditional IT more efficient and faster. They were the first distributor in Europe to adopt the concept of flex offers, for example, and Poland was one of the best countries. Also, Poland was one of the best countries around the world with regards to the adoption. So thank you very much to Also and also to the partners here for helping out with this. So traditional IT, the traditional transactional business, we are trying to make it as simple and efficient for you as only possible, to free up the time for you and then provide you with the resources and information so you can learn and understand the transition, and you can plan your transition at your own pace with your customers and with your vendors. I think it's the best strategy, channel strategy that we see. We believe it very strongly.
It sounds really good. I would love to hear more about it, but I'm afraid we have to do it after the panel. Time is running out. Guys, we have discussed the role of the managed service provider now and to the future. We have discussed X as a service, what will stay and what is not to stay. Definitely the hybrid setup will have its impact into the future. I thank you all for being here and listening to us today. Feel free to reach out to your local also subsidiary to take the discussion further. And we hope this has given you the motivation and maybe some inspiration for future business. Guys, thank you very much. Everybody here, thank you. Enjoy your session.
Thank you so much.